Have you ever caught yourself lying in bed at night, scrolling through your phone, suddenly realizing that hours have passed and you're not even sure what you were looking for? Maybe you're comparing your life to someone else's vacation photos or reading a random post about a stranger's success. And then this quiet little voice in your head says, "Why do I feel like I'm behind in life?" If that hit a little too close to home, trust me, you're not alone. Something funny happens when you hit your mid-30s. You look around and realize that life isn't just about chasing dreams anymore. It's also about managing responsibilities, paying bills, trying to stay healthy, raising kids, or taking care of aging parents, and wondering where the time went. There's this invisible pressure that says, by now, you should have it all figured out. But here's the truth most people don't talk about: a lot of us are winging it. And while that's totally normal, what's not okay is when our own minds quietly turn against us in the process. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 sneaky thought traps that can quietly chip away at your happiness after 35. They don't show up with warning signs or dramatic red flags. No, they creep in slowly, disguised as logic, responsibility, or even self-improvement. But over time, they drain your joy, confidence, and emotional energy. And the good news? Once you can spot them, you can break free from them. So let's start with one of the most common culprits. You know that feeling when you accomplish something, but instead of enjoying the win, your brain immediately moves the goalpost? Like, you finally got that promotion, and then your mind goes, well, now you should be managing a team. Or you lose 5 pounds, and the voice says, but 10 more would look better. That's the not enough trap. It's this mental treadmill where no matter how fast you run, the finish line keeps moving. And it's exhausting. The not enough trap convinces you that happiness lives in the next milestone: more money, a better body, a newer house. And the irony is, you never feel truly proud or at peace with yourself, even when you're doing great by anyone else's standards. What causes it? Part of it is how we were raised. Many of us grew up believing that success is about constant striving. But also, we're surrounded by highlight reels every day. Social media is like a never-ending awards show where everyone's life looks shinier, more productive, more exciting. And if you're already tired or stretched thin, it's so easy to forget that people don't post their messes, they post their wins. So how do you break free? You learn to pause the chase. You practice recognizing the already done. Try this: at the end of your day, ask yourself, what did I do well today? Not what you could have done better, but what you actually showed up for. Maybe you kept your cool during a hard meeting. Maybe you cooked dinner even though you were exhausted. Maybe you just took 10 minutes for yourself. These are wins too. Over time, this tiny shift rewires your brain to see yourself as already enough, not when you hit the next goal, but right now. Now, let's talk about another trap. It's subtle but dangerous. I call it the comparison sinkhole. This one shows up when you look at your peers and start ranking your life next to theirs. You see someone who's traveling more, earning more, aging more gracefully, or raising perfect kids, or so it seems. And suddenly, you feel this tightening in your chest. Am I behind? Did I make the wrong choices? Should I be doing more? Comparison is sneaky because it often feels productive, like you're gathering inspiration or motivation. But it's usually just a fast track to self-doubt, because you're comparing your full, behind-the-scenes reality to someone else's curated trailer. You know your bills, your tough conversations, your mistakes. You don't see theirs. You never do. Here's something real: life isn't a race. It's a landscape. And we all walk different paths, at different paces, in different weather. Some people hit their stride in their 20s. Others bloom at 40. Some marriages thrive early. Others take a decade to figure it out. There's no gold medal at the end for who got there first. But there is peace in knowing you're living your life, not someone else's projection. So what's the way out of the sinkhole? Gratitude. I know, it sounds like a cliche. But not the fluffy, forced kind. I mean real, grounded gratitude. When comparison creeps in, pause and find 3 things that are uniquely good about your life. Not in a generic way, but personal. I have a dog that makes me laugh every morning. I'm still close with my college best friend. I get to read bedtime stories to my daughter every night. These are the moments that actually matter. And guess what? Most of the people you're comparing yourself to, they wish they had some of what you already do. Now, before we move forward, I want you to take a breath. Seriously. Inhale for 4 seconds and let it out slowly. Sometimes, the most radical act of self-care is just giving yourself permission to stop rushing. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not a failure because you don't wake up at 5 a.m. to meditate and run a half marathon before work. Midlife isn't about perfection. It's about perspective. And when you start shifting the way you think, you begin to shift the way you live. Bit by bit. Thought by thought. Let's keep going. You know, one of the most surprising things I've learned talking to people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s is how many of them quietly carry this thought in the back of their minds: it's too late for me. That's the third trap. The too late trap. It doesn't shout. It whispers. Maybe it shows up when you think about going back to school, changing careers, starting a business, learning an instrument, traveling solo. You get excited for a second, and then the thought hits, I'm too old for that. Or worse, I missed my chance. It's one of the most dangerous thoughts, not because it's true, but because it feels reasonable. Society loves to put expiration dates on people. As if there's some invisible window in your 20s or early 30s when you're allowed to explore, make mistakes, try new things. And after that, you're supposed to settle down, stick to what you know, and ride it out. But let me ask you something, why? Who made that rule? Why should we believe that life is only expansive until a certain age? Here's the truth, every year of your life is a new chapter. And you are the only one holding the pen. Do you know how many people find their passion in their 40s or 50s? Do you know how many incredible artists, writers, and entrepreneurs started after everyone else thought they were too old? Julia Child didn't even start cooking until she was in her late 30s. Colonel Sanders started KFC in his 60s. Vera Wang didn't design her first dress until she was 40. And let's bring this closer to home. Maybe you're not trying to become famous or build a global empire. Maybe you just want to feel alive again. Take up painting. Go hiking. Start a blog. Apply for a job that scares you. Date again. You don't need to flip your whole life upside down. You just need to remind yourself that it's not over. It's not even close. Because what's the alternative? Living the next 30 years in autopilot, quietly wishing things were different, but never daring to try? No. You deserve more than that. If this trap is one you struggle with, here's something simple but powerful: shift from outcome thinking to curiosity thinking. Instead of asking, what if I fail, ask, what might happen if I try? Open the door to possibility. Just a crack. Let a little light in. And then there's a fourth trap, and this one is sneaky, because it wears the mask of wisdom. It's the I should know better trap. This one hits you when you make a mistake, lose your temper, forget something important, or fall back into an old habit. And instead of giving yourself grace, your brain goes, seriously? At your age? You should know better by now. Sound familiar? This trap is rooted in shame. It convinces you that growing older should mean becoming flawless. That somehow, if you've reached 35 or 45 or 50, you're not allowed to mess up anymore. But that's not how growth works. Growth isn't a straight line, it's a winding path. Sometimes you loop back before you move forward. And guess what? You're still human. You will still have moments of doubt, forgetfulness, reactivity, procrastination. You will still mess up. And that doesn't make you a failure, it makes you real. I remember talking to a friend, he's 47, who told me he snapped at his teenage son during a stressful day. Later that night, he sat in his car, ashamed, thinking, what kind of example am I setting? I've read all the parenting books. I teach emotional intelligence. Why did I still lose it? But I told him what I'm going to tell you now. Being emotionally aware doesn't mean you're emotionally perfect. It means you notice, you reflect, and you repair. That's the work. Not never messing up, but learning how to return to yourself with kindness when you do. So if you've ever said to yourself, I should have known better, I want you to replace it with something gentler. I'm still learning. That's it. That one shift changes everything. Because learning doesn't stop at graduation. It doesn't stop at marriage. It doesn't stop when you hit 40. If you're still growing, you're still living. That's the whole point. And maybe, just maybe, that growth requires a little self-compassion. Not the fluffy kind. The real kind. The kind that says, I didn't handle that well, but I'm still worthy of love and progress. So take a moment. Breathe that in. You're not behind. You're not too late. And you don't need to have it all figured out. Because every time you challenge one of these old, unhelpful thoughts, you create a little space inside your mind. A space for something kinder, truer, more empowering. And those small spaces? They add up. Over time, they become a mindset. A way of being. A quieter mind. A lighter heart. Let's keep going. So let's talk about one last trap. It's a quiet one, but maybe the most common of all, the I have to do it all trap. This is the one that makes you feel like you're failing if you're not juggling everything perfectly: your work, your relationships, your health, your kids, your aging parents, your side hustle, your laundry pile that seems to multiply on its own. You wake up with a mental checklist that's already 20 items long, and somehow, by bedtime, you've only checked off 3, and instead of feeling accomplished, you feel behind. Again. This trap is so sneaky because it often stems from a place of love. You want to be there for everyone. You want to provide, support, contribute. You want to be the reliable one, the rock, the glue. And maybe for years, you've been exactly that. But somewhere along the way, a dangerous belief crept in that your worth is tied to how much you can carry. That rest is laziness. That asking for help is weakness. That saying no is selfish. But let me ask you, how's that belief working out for you? Because for most people I've spoken to, especially those in midlife, it's not. It's burning them out. Silently. Slowly. Relentlessly. And what's even worse? It leaves no room for joy. You're so busy trying to manage life that you forget to feel it. To experience it. To laugh, to savor, to be present. The truth is, and I hope you really let this sink in, you were never meant to carry it all. You are not a machine. You are not a superhero. You are a human being. And humans need support. They need boundaries. They need space to breathe. Breaking free from this trap starts with one small but powerful shift: permission. You give yourself permission to rest. To ask for help. To say no. To delegate. To not always be the strong one. You remind yourself that being everything for everyone will eventually leave you as nothing for yourself. And I get it. If you've spent years holding it all together, the idea of letting go even a little can feel terrifying. It might feel like things will fall apart. But sometimes, letting go of control is what allows others to rise up, to step in, to share the load. Let me tell you about a woman named Trin. She's 43, works full-time, raises 2 kids, and was trying to care for her mom who has early dementia, all while keeping up with her social circle and volunteering on weekends. One day, she forgot her son's school event, broke down in the parking lot, and told me, "I feel like I'm failing at everything." But she wasn't failing. She was overfunctioning. Doing so much that there was no room left for grace. We worked on something simple. She started saying no to 2 things a week. That's it. Just 2 things. 1 social obligation, 1 work extra. And she used that time to rest or talk to her kids. Within a month, she said she felt like she could breathe again. Not because her life became easier, but because she became kinder to herself. You don't need to fix your whole life in a day. You just need to loosen the grip of these thought traps, one at a time. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to choose differently. You are allowed to prioritize peace over performance. Because here's what no one tells you about midlife: it's not the beginning of the end, it's the end of the beginning. And that's a beautiful thing. You now have enough lived experience to know what truly matters. You've faced real challenges and come out stronger. You've loved, lost, tried, failed, and still, you're here. Still standing. Still searching. Still learning. And that's not something to be ashamed of. That's something to be deeply proud of. So if you've recognized any of these thought traps in yourself today, whether it's "I'm not enough," "I'm too late," "I should have known better," "I can't stop comparing," or "I have to do it all," just know this: there is nothing wrong with you. These thoughts aren't flaws. They're simply echoes of a mind that's trying to protect you in the only ways it knows how. But you're wiser now. And with that wisdom comes the power to choose differently. So start small. Catch the thought. Name it. Gently challenge it. And then, choose a kinder one. You don't need to overhaul your life. You don't need a new personality or a 5-step morning routine. You just need one honest moment with yourself and the courage to take a single step forward. That's how change begins. Quietly. Gently. Powerfully. And if this video resonated with you, take a moment and let me know in the comments. Share which thought trap spoke to you most. You never know, your story might help someone else feel less alone. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. We're building a space here for real conversations, honest growth, and midlife momentum. No filters, no pressure, just progress. Here's to living stronger, wiser, and happier, no matter the number on your ID. I'm glad you're here. And you've got this. Before you go, let me leave you with this. You are not late to your own life. It's so easy to believe that everyone else has the map, the answers, the direction figured out. But no one handed them a guidebook either. We're all just finding our way, some with more noise, some with more silence. But still, figuring it out. And if you're at a point in your life where you're questioning things, wondering if there's more, if it's okay to want something different, if it's too late to change, you're not breaking down. You're waking up. That voice inside you, the one that whispers, "There has to be more than this," that's not dissatisfaction. That's your soul stirring. Asking for more meaning. More alignment. More life. So don't silence it. You don't need a dramatic reset. Sometimes, the biggest breakthroughs start with the smallest choices: closing the laptop early to take a walk, saying no to something that drains you, saying yes to something that lights you up, being gentler with your own mind at the end of a hard day. This is your life. Not your parents'. Not your coworkers'. Not the one you see on Instagram. Yours. And the beauty of being 35, 40, 50, or beyond is this: you're old enough to know better, but still young enough to do something about it. That's a rare and powerful place to be. So take one thought trap. Just one. And decide that it doesn't get to run the show anymore. This time, you do. Take care of yourself. You matter more.